Alrighty, hello everybody. I haven't uploaded a regular video in a while. Um, I've been streaming quite a lot because it's quite enjoyable. I enjoy talking to you guys and stuff like that, but it's time to actually make a video. Um, you know, because I haven't really done that in a couple weeks, I think. Um, so today's video is basically just going to be about my problem with antipsychotic medication. Now I know, um, I've always had a problem with medication. Well, antipsychotic medication. Um, it's a very hard thing to deal with. Like if you have a psychotic illness, like schizophrenia, or you have like bipolar disorder with psychotic symptoms, for example, hallucinations, delusions, stuff like that, you know, you have to take these medications. Like, especially if you go into a mental hospital and they force medication on you. I don't think it's possible for you to just say, hey, I'm not going to take this. Because when I was in the mental hospital the third time, people were a little bit more aggressive. People were a little bit more having breakdowns, and people were having problems. And I know someone in there was refusing to take medication, and it's just something you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to refuse medication. Um, and me, I'm not really the type of guy, because I'm very well aware of my situation. Sometimes I will become very stubborn, and I'll become very aggressive, especially when I'm not on medication. I can become very aggressive, but at the same time, I'm still aware of my issues. And most of those people, they're aware of their issues, but they don't like the way antipsychotics feel. They don't like the way um, they feel on antipsychotic medication, and that's totally understandable. Believe me, um, it's bad. Well, it's not bad. I don't want to like scare you guys into thinking, antipsychotic medication is horrible. It's gonna kill you or something like that. It's not like that. It just basically makes you feel very strange. Okay. For me, I've been on I think, 5 or 6 different antipsychotic medication. I've been on Risperdal. I've been on Abilify, Zyprexa, Seroquel. Um, I'm blanking on a couple more. Um, yeah, I'm blanking on a couple more. But I've been on about 5 or 6 different antipsychotic medication. And let's just say, well, I'll say this first. Antipsychotic medication, different medications work for other people, okay? It just depends on the person, depends on their brain, depends on how they react to that medication. And for example, I think my first ever antipsychotic medication was Risperdal. And let's just say was not fun. I'll tell you that. It was not fun. I think I was in the mental hospital um, when I was 14 or 15, I think. That's when I was on Risperdal. I think they put me on Risperdal. And I remember I went to sleep. I took the medication, went to sleep, woke up, and I could not move properly. I could not function or move. Couldn't keep my eyes open. I wish I could show you guys how I had to walk. For example, I had a very hard time walking on that medication. I was out of it. I was gone. Um, and sometimes that's what the medication does to you. And I remember when I was walking, because when you're in the mental hospital, you have to do certain things. Like you can't just sit in your room all day. Well, I was underage at the time, so you're kind of forced to do things you don't really want to do more often when you're an adult. And I had to hold on to walls when I was walking, and I walked like a zombie. That's why a lot of people say, the medication is very zombifying, because it honestly is. But then again, it helps you a lot. Um, it makes you less caring, you know. It makes you less, um, you just care a lot less, you know. You don't really care that you're hallucinating. It doesn't really bother you. At least that's my experience. Yes, it will tone down the hallucinations. For me, I've been on Seroquel for about 5 years almost now, and I have a lot of problems with this medication. But then again, it really helps me function, right? Helps me function as a normal, not a normal person, but it helps me function to an extent to where I can function sitting inside my room, you know. Um, the problems I have with this medication is um, I get I have a lot of problems with my motor skills. I have a lot of problems with my muscles. I have a lot of problems with my movement. For example, when I walk down the stairs, my legs will shake like really bad to where I can't even control my own legs, you know. Um, I have a lot of problems with my back. I have a lot of problems standing up. I have a lot of problems. Yeah, I can't stand up for very long. If I'm standing up, I cannot just sit there and stand. I have to move. I'm very restless. Standing up will cause me to basically if I get any physical, um, if I do anything physical, my body pretty much just shuts down and I can't move. Um, I literally have to sit like this. I can't. My body just stops functioning properly. That's a huge problem I have with Seroquel. I had that problem with Risperdal. I had that problem with Zyprexa. I think it was Zyprexa or Abilify. It was one of those two to where I could not um, function properly. I couldn't get comfortable. Um, like I just couldn't function properly, at least with my movement. And that's like one of the major problems I have with antipsychotics is the way it affects your movement. Now, I may be wrong on this, but I'm not sure. This is how I'm pretty much um, understanding it. Now, schizophrenia, for example, it causes your dopamine levels to be extremely high. And now, what the medication does is it lowers that dopamine by a lot. And now, what's causing that dopamine level? The medication is causing that dopamine level to go low. Is what it's affecting your movement. Now, I may be wrong on that. I'm not sure, but that's at least my understanding of it. I could be wrong. I don't know. So don't take what I'm saying like seriously. I could be wrong on that. Look it up yourself. But I know that schizophrenia causes your dopamine levels to be extremely high. That's what causes you to hallucinate and stuff like that. And my dopamine levels are extremely high. Let's go into other problems I have with antipsychotics. When I was on Risperdal, my blood pressure was extremely high. I don't remember the numbers, but um, my blood pressure it wasn't like extremely high to where it could possibly kill me. It was high enough to where it was very noticeable and it was very bothersome. Um, another thing a lot of people deal with antipsychotics is weight gain. Now, I've been lucky enough to not gain any weight. Right now, I'm on 300 milligrams of Seroquel right here, um, and it's not like an extremely high dose. I mean, it's a high dose. You know, most people aren't really on 300 milligrams, but it is a high dose. It's not like extremely high, but it's up there. And I'll tell you one thing. Um, Sleeping on this medication is easy. That's one thing I do like about this medication is it's very good at helping you sleep. It's like a tranquilizer. If you try staying awake on this medication, depending on the dosage you're on, if you're on a high dose, you're going to have a hard time staying awake because it literally just tranquilizes you and you're out. You can't keep your eyes open. So that's one thing I like. But then again, it makes me feel very strange. Whenever I take it, it takes about 30 minutes to an hour to really affect me to where I cannot stay awake. So I like that part, but at the same time, I hate the way it makes me feel. Because it's like I'm extremely stoned times 1,000. That's what it makes me feel like. Not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. I do not enjoy that feeling. Also, when it kicks in, makes my heart rate go up to about 150, which is annoying to deal with because I'm also on a beta blocker, which causes my heart rate to stabilize. So there's that. Now, a lot of people do have weight gain problems on these types of medications. I I don't know what's wrong with my body, but my metabolism is extremely fast. No matter how much I eat, I don't gain weight, um, which is good, I guess. I mean, I would like to gain weight, but I'd rather be skinny than be obese. So I've been lucky in that department. Another thing, I forgot what I was going to say about another thing. Um, Let me try to think. My mind is becoming blank now. I don't know. For some reason, when I'm thinking of something, I have something to say and I forget it. Completely ruins my thought of my brain thought, and it completely ruins it. Man, I can't remember now. Well, this video's been going on for about 11 minutes now, but I had a really good thing to talk about. It had something to do with something. Um, well, I'll say this. Another thing I dislike about this medication is it doesn't, for me at least, it doesn't help completely. Um, it it makes my hallucinations go away. Not fully, but it does help my visual and auditory hallucinations heavily. Um, I don't visually hallucinate like all the time now, but I will have auditory hallucinations at least every other day or every day. But they're not that bad. They're not that bad. Like I can handle it. It's not really that noticeable. But one problem I do have is it doesn't get rid of my delusions and my paranoia. Now, that's one thing I really wish it would affect and it would really get rid of. But, um, it doesn't. My delusions and my paranoia has been, for the past few months, really, 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 really bad. Probably the worst it's ever been. And that's while being on these medications. And that's one thing I really am disliking at the moment is it doesn't help at all with my delusions. I don't really know why my delusions have been really bad lately, but they have been. And like I wish I remembered what I was going to talk about. Um, I'll say another thing, and then I'll be ending this video. Is I forgot another thing what I was going to say. Oh, I should probably write things down. I'm just going off the top of my head right now. Well, that's very annoying. I've forgotten two things what I was going to say. Oh, there it is. This wasn't the one. This wasn't the previous one of what I was thinking of. This is just recent of what I was thinking. Is I'm upset with the companies. I'm upset with the people who are making medications, at least antipsychotic medications. They're not trying to make them better. Okay? They're not trying to make the medications better. They're not even trying to they're not trying to make new medications, at least from what I've learned in the past couple years, is they're not even trying to make new medications. That's one thing I dislike, and that's a thing I dislike about the medications is they're not even trying to make better medications for mentally ill people. It's a very annoying thing, and it's something that really pisses me off. Is it just feels like, I mean, the mental health system has gotten so much better over the past 50, 60 years. Obviously, people used to get lobotomized. Jesus. They used to get electroshock therapy. I mean, that still happens sometimes nowadays, but that's not a common practice. Same with lobotomies. Think It's a really good thing that that's not a thing. Okay. It's gotten a lot better, but the medication, they're not really doing anything about it. Yes, the mental health care system has gotten a lot better. It's becoming a lot more known. It's becoming a lot more. People are trying to. It's getting helped more, and that's one thing I really dislike. Um, so yeah, that's about it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Um, this has been my pretty much annoyances with this type of medication. Um, it's not fun to be on this medication, let me tell you. I've been on it for past 16, 17, 18, 19, 17. It's been about 5 years I've been on medications now. It's not easy, um, but it's something you got to do if you want to be stable. Unless your illness isn't that bad where you can function properly without being on medication, then that's a really good thing. But for a lot of us, we need the medication for us to even be able to function somewhat properly. Myself, I cannot function. I can't function. I can barely function on the medication, you know. Um, so it's something we have to do. It's something we have to um, take into account. You know, yes, we have this illness, but um, I'm going to try to be on something that's going to help me function at least a little bit better. You know, it's something we got to do, or it's something I got to do at least. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All of my links for social medias will be down in the description below if you want to follow me on any of those. And I'll see you guys next time, which I don't know when will that be. So bye, everybody.